In this video, I'll be talking about natal Sagittarius moon in the third house and what this placement means for you if you have it in your chart, or if you're watching for somebody else, what it means in terms of their personality. And in astrology, what the moon represents is it represents our emotions, our internal selves, and it's an aspect of our personalities that is more private, that is more internally experienced, and that people only get to know when they get to know us on a personal level, especially through observing our tendencies or through knowing our emotional nature. So in this case, the moon is in Sagittarius, and since the moon is about emotions or what makes us feel secure or fulfilled, this shows somebody that needs something to believe in order to feel at their best or to feel well, because Sagittarius is all about beliefs, convictions, or sense of direction, and the moon shows our emotional needs. So these people don't necessarily need like material things, or they don't necessarily need like other people's support or belief when it comes to feeling well about themselves. They just really need something to believe in. And since the moon is in their third house, which is all about the mind, this to me shows somebody that is guided by their mind. And generally speaking, on an internal level, they are constantly making sense of knowledge or of beliefs, especially possibilities for truth. And they may be constantly weighing possibilities in their mind or comparing things in a philosophical manner, because Sagittarius is all about philosophy, and the third house is all about the mind, and it's all about thinking. So moon in Sagittarius in the third house shows somebody that has an emotional need to philosophically rationalize things, or to broadly and generally make sense of their reality or of life. Because the moon in the third house shows somebody that has a need to make sense of things or consider alternate options. And it is the house of information. Sagittarius rules the ninth house, which is the opposing house from the third house. And the ninth house is all about convictions, assumptions, or generalizations. So when the moon is in Sagittarius in the third house, they show somebody that's a really broad thinker. And they like to think until they come to a general consensus about what the truth is about a certain topic, about a certain person, or about a certain idea that they have. So on an internal level, they can also be somewhat judgmental. And that is a trait that people don't necessarily pick up on until they get to know the person privately. And then they get to know that this person that has the moon in Sagittarius in the third house is somebody that is attached to their beliefs and their convictions, and it has a tendency to generalize things or to make sense of things. So they can be quite opinionated as well, but they can come across a little judgmental at times. But it's not coming from a negative, intentional place. It's just how they go about life or how they think. So the next thing about this placement is that since the moon shows emotions and sensitivity, when the moon is in the third house, which is all about communication, this is somebody that is very sensitive to words, especially to criticism and judgment. So the reason why is that the moon is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is about morality, judgment, and beliefs. But generally speaking, another way to put this placement is that these people are very keenly aware of words and of communication. They're very observant of information and sensitive to it. So like they pick up on all the details or the words that people say, and they're observant of what people talk about, or like what people are saying to them. And they're paying more attention than the average person. And so this makes them good conversationalists as well. And they're good people to have philosophical conversations with as well. And they'll attract a lot of long conversations with people, because people feel comfortable opening up to them, or talking about beliefs, or about truth, or about reality, or God, or the universe, or very broad topics that take a long time to discuss. Because when the third house is in Sagittarius, this shows very long communication, or very long conversations, or somebody that can talk a lot, or that has a lot to say, because Sagittarius is all about excess and abundance and expansiveness. And when it's in the third house, this is about very expansive communication, or very long conversations. And the moon shows something that we attract, or that we I think attract is the right word. And the moon is something that I guess that we are sensitive to as well, or that we are keenly aware of. But what I'm trying to say is that the moon here shows that they're a good conversationalist, so they attract that from others. But the last thing about this placement is that they may have a tendency to care about the opinions of others, or to think about those kinds of things. And generally speaking, the next trait, I guess, because I have one more trait that I forgot to discuss, is that these people will also have a lot of internal dialogue, because the moon is an internal aspect of our personality. And in the third house, this is about the mind, and this is about thinking and communication. So a lot of times people with the moon in the third house, they have a tendency to have internal dialogue, and they could be more reserved on the outside, or they could be less talkative. They could be more observant instead. But this obviously makes them good conversationalists too, or easy people to talk to, because they like to listen to other people's convictions, or they like to hear about other people's culture or their opinions. In terms of the quality of their voice, they could have a softer voice quality, or softer voice tone. And it could be very soothing or calming, because the moon is the nurturing planet. It rules the mother figure, and it rules the intuitive individual, or like the psychic individual. And so they often have this soothing, or like parent-like tone to their voice. So that basically summarizes what I wanted to talk about for this placement. In general, how I would summarize it in one sentence is that with the moon in Sagittarius in the third house, this shows that you ask yourself a lot of questions, especially about truth, justice, and beliefs. And you like to make sense of knowledge, or broadly generalize things in your mind, and you have like a lot of internal dialogue. So this makes you a good conversationalist and a well-cultured person, or a knowledgeable individual. With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more content. With that being said, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting in any way that you do. If you would like a natal chart reading, the link is in the description to my Patreon, where I do a free natal chart reading for my Jupiter tier patrons, which is my higher tier. And I offer a 50% discount off readings for my moon tier, which is my lower tier of patrons. But for a regular reading, for a regular booking, I have my email in the description as well, if you'd like to book one that way. And if you'd like me to make a personalized video of your chart covering your placements, your talents and general personality, as well as your destiny through your North Node. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting, and I'll talk to you guys sometime soon in another video. Peace.